Eric, Eric. Our recent return to Skyrim has been an interesting one so far, hasn't it? To think I was going to just have this be a personal playthrough in Skyrim, but I'm glad I decided to do this roleplay series instead. Hello, I'm Type 1 Dragon, and I like to tell stories, be it sharing my gaming experiences, or roleplay series such as my journeys with Eric here. I had this idea in my mind for a while, and I decided to finally make a video about my thought process when making Eric, and hopefully share some tips that you yourself could use when making a character to roleplay. Do note, a lot I have to say applies heavily to the Elder Scrolls, as it is the main series on my channel, but with some tweaking, they can apply to anything, really. For those curious, there's a link to Eric's adventures in the description, and as well as a card at the top right now. The first thing I did when making Eric is research. Research. Before I even had his name down, I researched. It'll most likely be the most time-consuming aspect of making a character, and an aspect that you will constantly be doing even when you think you have everything figured out. Now, you don't need thousands of hours worth of knowledge in order to make a character. You'll get a lot of knowledge as you play, but it does pay to spend at least 5, 10, 15 minutes to do basic research about the history of the world you plan to roleplay in before you start writing down details about the character. You can narrow things down later, starting off with basic knowledge of Elder Scrolls history, such as learning the planet that we inhabit is called Nirn, and the mortal plane among us goes a long way to make you feel as if you grew up learning that. The unofficial Elder Scrolls pages, aka UESP wiki, is a great research for this, and I'll leave a link to it as well in the description. Speaking of narrowing down, it's time we start building up that foundation that we formed from the research and really figure out who are you. Feel free to shoot an arrow in my knee. Someone please stop me. Alright, narrowing down. What do I mean by that? In the Elder Scrolls, there are 10 playable races to choose from. 10 playable races. That's not counting all the other cultures, past or present, that call Tamriel and Nirn home. We have, in no particular order, the Nords, the High Elves, also known as Ultmer, Imperials, Wood Elves, also known as Bosmer, Bretons, Argonians, also known as Saxhiel, Orcs, Dark Elves, also known as Dunmer, Redguards, and Khajiit. Each of them with a deep and rich culture, history, and mannerisms that if you plan to roleplay as, you'll need to know. Roleplaying as a Khajiit is vastly different from roleplaying as a Nord. For example, going off the Khajiit, they tend to refer to themselves in the third person. In the third episode of my roleplay series, Eric has a conversation with the Khajiit caravan traders, and they refer to themselves as their name, not as I, we in some parts, but when speaking in the first person, they refer to themselves in third person. There'll eventually be a character that will be brought into the series that is a Khajiit, and if I remember correctly, they speak in third person, but I'm getting off track. And compare that to the Nords, who are based off of the real life Vikings. They are the Vikings of the Elder Scrolls. They speak like real life Nordic people of Scandinavia. What about naming? Looking at Imperials compared to Argonians, Imperials are based on the real life Romans. So if a name sounds Roman, odds are it will work for an Imperial character. Now what about the Argonians? I didn't learn this until making this video. Argonians have two different naming conventions, Jill and Tamrielic. Jill being the native language of the Saxhiel, aka the Argonians. In Argonian Saxhiel culture, when a young Saxhiel licks the sap of the history, that's another conversation in of itself, they then receive their name. And to outsiders, everyone that's not from Blackmarsh, the home of the Argonians, that is their Blackmarsh name. Their Tamrielic name can be a translation of their Jahil. Jahil? Jel? I'm probably saying that wrong at some point. But anyway, their Tamrielic name could be the translation of their Blackmarsh name, such as, I know I'm going to butcher this, Kiaj, Vishk, or Amble Ghosts, or Giant Ghosts. Some Argonians may even take an Imperial/Citadelic name. So there could be Argonians out there whose names are Marcus Aurelius. Are you starting to see the point? Every race is incredibly different from each other. They require a bit of research, and the more you look into these races, the more you start to understand what makes them all unique from each other. Even the races of men differ heavily from one another. A Nord from Skyrim has a drastically different culture and history than a Bren from High Rock, despite the two provinces bordering each other. I already had prior knowledge of the Elder Scrolls history, at least very basic knowledge, so I knew what each of the cultures differentiate from, in a sense. And I already planned on playing as a Nord, so delving deeper into the culture was fun. All that left is the backstory, and I already have no groundbreaking tip here, really. It's your character's backstory. You can go in as deep as you want, but I tend to start with how everyone starts in life, the day they were born. For Eric, he was born on the 18th of First Seed, under the sign of the Lord, in 4 Era 170, making him 31 by the time he crossed the border, same as us and that thief over there. I've been playing through that intro for so much it's ingrained into my brain. Anyway, I do recommend keeping some form of documentation, either a Google Doc, a Word doc, or wherever you write stuff down. Just keep a document of the character's life and put in however much detail you want. If you just want to put a sentence of, they did this when they were 8, do it. For Eric's document, it's 542 words, which could easily be expanded upon if I want to go deeper into his childhood or early adulthood. I could probably have an entire separate document detailing the decade-long journey he took across Tamriel after his parents died. You by no means have to do everything I listed, but I will say the deeper you grow with research, writing, and eventually playing, the bigger the connection you have to the character. At some point, they stop feeling like an NPC and more like an old friend you've known all your life. I hope something I said helps you in your journey in telling stories and games. Let me know some other tips that I didn't cover or may have missed entirely down below. Let's start a discussion on this and get people excited about telling these stories. And until next time, Eric and I will see you later. Stay safe out there. Oh, 2 more things real quick before I go. Number 1, Warbow voice. Completely optional. If you're doing a series on YouTube and you just want to use your natural voice, by all means, use your natural voice. Go first. Someone I admire and is a big influence in my series has 3 playthroughs and they're all done with his natural voice. I do one because I want to do one. And the second thing I want to cover, this mostly goes to my current subscribers and viewers. Tuesday's episode, there might not be one Tuesday. Because if you don't know, and I'm assuming you probably don't, SKSE, the script extender for Skyrim that allows me to mod the game, is currently broken. Because the game recently had a update. And it will take a few days for the script extender team to update the script extender, and that means some mods might be broken. So Eric's journey is going to be on a slight hiatus for a little bit. I'll try to have something upload Tuesday, If not, I'll have something definitely upload Saturday. But with all that said, I'll see you all later, and we'll be looking forward to hearing and telling more stories in the coming journey that I have here on YouTube. Catch you all later.